Give me thumbs up once we're live.
We live.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wednesday night stream on Hotep Jesus YouTube channel. I am Wendy O. Most of you guys know me, some of you guys don't, but I'm here with Hotep and we're going to be talking about relationships and some other topics. Before we get started, please make sure you guys like this video. Make sure you guys comment in the chat. If you guys want to tip us, tip us. If not, that's fine too. If you want to dislike the video, go ahead, dislike it. It adds to positive interaction for YouTube's algorithm. But yeah, we got some good topics for you guys tonight. How you doing tonight, Hotep?
I'm doing quite well, quite well. How do I sound? Are we choppy? How does the audio sound? How's everybody in the chat? Terrible trader, I'll see you. Give me a 1-2-1-2 on the chat. I've been having internet issues. My ISP has throttled my bandwidth up and probably down stream. So I'm gonna have to give them a call to put things back where they need to be. If anybody's not familiar with that, if you find your internet going slow, basically with the ISPs, hold on, let me tell them to refresh really fast because I had it refresh. So basically, what happens is, okay, they said I sound fine, but I'm frozen. All right, good. As long as you can hear me. So ISPs,
Yeah,
basically
you're a
what
little bit
happens
blurry.
is, okay. Yeah, so what they do is they especially if you use a lot of bandwidth, they'll throttle it. So you have to call them every 3 months or so and say, hey, increase my bandwidth, because they like to be slick like that.
Mm-hmm. That's actually a very good tip for everyone because I feel like the cable companies are probably one of the real problems in America these days. They are just out here price gouging us, screwing with our internet service. And as most of you guys know that are watching this, we are relying on our internet for almost everything, especially with the lockdown or whatever the hell's
Yeah.
going on. Because I don't even know if we're locked down anymore or not.
Yeah, right. Like, are we even locked down? Like, I get. So here's what I think. And I think I saw a race try to do this, but if you want to throw a party, just make sure it's dedicated to George Floyd and Black Lives Matter or something like that. Just put a Black Lives Matter banner outside, and all of a sudden, you're COVID compliant.
Oh my God. What a very interesting time we are living in. So before we got started with the stream, you said that you wanted to tell me something. You wanted
Oh
to share
yeah,
something.
yeah, it's just been a really great month for me so far, and actually great past few weeks. I've been really great. I've been vibrating at the right frequency. But had Scott Adams on last Friday. Epic conversation. A lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people are saying they're impacted by this. So that was very energizing for me and, for the public. Then I did an interview with Shahan. Shahan's like a Silicon Valley guy. And we talked like tech and my companies and mindset. And I've been flowing off that energy. I think that was Monday. And then I spoke to Brett Weinstein on Tuesday, who's a radical liberal, so to speak, who is liberal, but not like the typical liberal,
Okay.
definitely more libertarian liberal. So that was a great conversation. Very controversial. We argued a lot, respectfully, but we argued a lot, which was great. It drew out a lot of good gems. So if anybody has a chance to check that out, that'll be out. I don't know. I sent him an email to find out when that drops. But today I spoke to Thaddeus Russell. And Thaddeus Russell, we spoke for 3 hours, and it flew by. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot. Thaddeus Russell is a professor, and he's specializes in African American history.
Okay.
So, he was dropping just mad gems on me, a lot of things I just didn't know about. And we were just exchanging information, and he interviewed me, and that thing is going to be epic. I think it's probably definitely top 2 interviews, if not one. Sometimes it's hard for me, like I love the one I did with Peter McCormick, right? But I love that one for different reasons, right? Because my Peter McCormick one was definitely more crypto focused, business, fintech focused, right? So I love talking about that stuff. I live for that stuff. Thaddeus, we were more like breaking down the psyche of the white liberal and the history of the white liberal. And oh my God, it's so rich, so rich. And then after that, I wanted to study, but I didn't get a chance to. But because I spoke to my coding mentor for the first time, come to find out he lives in my same state. And he's got the right experience, right attitude. He loves what I got, and we're already getting ready to kick off our first project together. So yeah, I'm just super energized and super pumped for how life is going right now, man.
I'm excited for you. I love it when people win. I absolutely love it when people win, when they're vibing, when they're doing well, when things are just working out for them. It literally makes me happy. The reason being is because I believe that everybody deserves a good quality of life, regardless of their background, regardless of anything. So anytime that somebody that I'm cool with, that they're doing well, even somebody that I might not vibe with, if something good happens for them, I'm happy. I'm legitimate happy for them.
Yeah, that's gonna come back to you too. That's a good attitude to have.
Yeah,
You know,
I think it's important, but I'm excited to hear some of the stuff that you did because even though I don't agree with you on everything, the way that you break things down, it's always logic based, and it's always
mm,
like anytime you have an idea and you're like, or you make a statement, you're like, okay, well, I believe this, but I believe this because of X, Y, and Z. So it's
mm,
either logic based or because you've been through an experience, and even though I may not agree, it's like, okay, well, I can respect that point of view because it's just not, you're just not sitting there like shouting and making demands saying, you need to give me this because I'm this, or because I'm this, or because I want this. It's like, well, I want this because X, Y, and Z. And you give a
mm.
very logical explanation. Even when you tell me I can't be showing my ankle, you give me a logical you give me a logical explanation why I shouldn't be showing my ankles to people, okay?
Yeah, you have to respect people when things are thought out, and when they're just saying things because they're repeating others, it's very scary.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that, okay, you might have. So for example, um you might be against reparations, right? And I think it's very important to discuss why somebody may be against reparations. And I don't have a problem with people saying they're against reparations. Just show me why. And what you find is usually their why is based on nothing, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's based off of outdated information. It's based off of not understanding the argument that people are using for reparations, right? Like people say, "Oh, we need reparations. Hey, you weren't a slave." Well, guess what? We're not asking for reparations for slavery. You see what I'm saying? Like, so your whole argument is just squashed. It's like they say things like, "Oh, the Democratic Party did that." Well, guess who's got to pay for reparations? You know what I mean? So,
Well,
but
this is the
the
thing.
point is,
I don't speak on stuff I don't speak on stuff I don't know about. Like I'll be the first one to tell. Like even with my crypto content, and I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I want to make something clear to everybody that's watching this. There's some things that I don't understand that I am not educated about, and I'll tell you, I don't really understand this, or I'm not educated about this, but this is what I do know, and this is what I do feel. But generally, if I'm not educated about it, I'm not going to speak on it because
right,
there's really no point to it. I'll listen, I'll hear your point of view, but I might not be able to contribute to the conversation because I don't know. Like I don't know enough about reparations for me to say, oh, well, I agree where or that I disagree. So I'm not even going to have that conversation. That's just an
right,
example.
right, right. Yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. So, what we talk about tonight?
All right, so tonight we're going to be talking about a couple things because I think that they're important. One of the first things that I wanted to discuss is I want to talk about the importance of a strong male role model and a strong female role model during this time. And I want to get both of our perspectives on it because I come from a different background than you. Obviously, we are both different races. You're black and I'm considered white, even though I don't necessarily think that I may be white. So
Even though you're a super Jew.
I am a super Jew. I am a super Jew. No, but I think it's important for both of us to kind of speak on it because it's a very sensitive time for a lot of people. Like very, very sensitive time. Like I went to the store like twice this week. I got to get out of the house and people are like on edge. They're tense and it's just like, and I get it. And then I'm also having conversations with people on Twitter too. And like, also, I'm very careful with what I say because I'm not interested in offending anyone, but I also have my thoughts and opinions on stuff and my opinion and my feelings are valid because of some of the stuff that I went through. So I think it's important to kind of discuss some things and kind of talk about it because at the end of the day, like you and I both have opinions about stuff, but really this whole situation that's going on, it impacts our children. and the future generations. And we need to raise strong, opinionated, and brave kids so that they can, flourish in society.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, do you want to talk about like some of the racial tension happening right now on the social networks with the George Floyd and stuff?
We could talk about whatever you want to speak about, whatever you
Because
think, whatever you want to speak about. I'm all.
I think
There's
I
some
think
things
you
I won't touch, but
right,
I'll.
right, right. But I think you alluded to some. There's some tension there. You think you
Oh,
know?
on social media, 100%.
So tell me what you're witnessing.
So what I'm witnessing, people they look at my profile picture and they're like, okay, there's this white girl. She's privileged. She comes
Right.
from this. She comes with that. She's got, white privilege and whatever. Yes, I do have some white privilege because of the color of my skin. However, just because of the color of my skin, just because I'm on quote unquote white, doesn't mean that I was brought up with additional privileges. Yes, there has been times that maybe my skin color did help aid me in, not getting my ass whooped by the police or whatnot. So I understand that and I acknowledge that, but my life was not easy. So there's a lot of
Mm.
people that are jumping to conclusions because I had made a comment about people rioting and like destroying
What'd
stuff,
you
and
say?
I said these people are terrible or something like that. And it was a
Uh,
picture of different people, all different backgrounds, all different backgrounds. It wasn't just black people or white people or whatnot. And so somebody commented, they're like, who do you mean by they? And I'm like, the people in the picture that are destroying property, like,
who do you
like
think I'm talking about? Right. Yeah.
it's not directed to one specific person or one specific race. I'm not with destroying small businesses. I'm not with destroying the city, because what people don't understand is when you are destroying your city or somebody else's city, taxes will increase. That cost gets passed down to the public. And a lot of the public, they're middle class, they're poor, they're lower middle class, they might not be able to cover that. And why should they have to pay for what somebody else, is doing? Like, that's not fair to them. And I think about those people because that's where I came from. But there is tension on social media, and there's a lot of tension like with police officers and people. There's some people that support the police, there's some people that don't support the police. Like, it wasn't an argument, but it was a conversation with somebody, and he said, I don't like police because of X, Y, and Z. And I says, I've had bad experience with police too, but at the end of the day, I'm going to judge somebody based on who they are, not who they're necessarily affiliated with, because I feel like if you don't take the time to know each person individually, then you're doing yourself a disservice.
Mm. I think that's the key right there, right? Because when we look at the cops who have murdered many of these black people who have been popularized uh, from the police brutality and Black Lives Matter crowd. The cops in these instances who have killed black men, many of them are still on the force. And that's what happens when you don't make examples of the people that committed the crime.
Mm-hmm.
It gets lost into all white people, which means the actual white people who committed the crime are usually get to sneak off while everybody's distracted.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you have to take this on a case by case basis, especially if you know how to work the court system. And I think that's what we have to get better at is working the court system. It used to be a time where the court system definitely worked against us. It still does work against us many times, as we see with Byron Allen. Um, but it can still be used. We can still work it and try our best with it. But that's much better approach than trying to blame a boogeyman.
Mm-hmm.
you know. Uh, go ahead.
And all that kind of like this conversation, the reason why I wanted to have it, because I feel that it's important, because we need to be able, like the stuff that we're talking about right now as adults, we need to be able to break this down to our children at all different ages and talk to them and say, hey, this is what happened, this is what was done, this is why people are upset, but we're to combat this, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. I want to provide the kids with solutions. I want to provide people with solutions to talk to their kids, because at the end of the day, and then this, people may not like that I'm saying this, but at the end of the day, we're all in this together. Even though we all come from different backgrounds, we're all humans.
It's
Like,
the it's the it's the people versus the state.
thank you. So we need to figure out how to kind of work together, because I feel like even though there's difference between black and white and Hispanic and Jewish or whatever the heck, if we can figure out how to work together and to come up with solutions collectively and to teach this to our children, then I think next generation has a better chance of not having to be put through this type of stuff and this turmoil.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So I love that you brought up the role model thing because I spoke. Me and Thaddeus spoke in detail, not exactly about role models, but you'll see where I'm going with this. So when we look at the black family, we have to understand what happened to the black man, the black male role model. Now, if you ever want to destroy a civilization, what you do is you take out the men, and we're going to show you exactly what happens when you take out the men, right? So let's first show how we take out the men. Now, a lot of people would say mass incarceration. Um, I do agree. Slavery legalized under the 13th Amendment is a problem, but AIDS takes us out a lot. Heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure takes out many of us, millions. So let's just put that aside for a second. Here's one thing that a lot of people don't consider: World War One. All right, now let's go. Civil War, World War One, World War Two, the Vietnam War. You see, generally women don't fight wars, men do. So when you have a government who practices conscription, which is the draft, and they can forcibly take men out of the household and force them to go to wars, what you'll have is what we have in the black community now is uh, and a lopsided numbers. What we have are black women outnumber black men, black free men, men that aren't incarcerated, many of them are locked up, so on and so forth. But because of all these years of all these wars and then what drugs did and then what Biden and them did and the Rockefeller laws, what they did, what you have is this imbalance. Now watch this. When you got a black man, right? And for every black man is four women, you create an environment for competition. You create an environment for infidelity. So, you'll have, a man with a woman, they might have some kids, but it's three women trying to get that one man. He slips up, blah, 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 cheats, household broken up. This is how households can be broken up, but it makes the black man very valuable, puts him in high demand in the community, and it causes the women to fight, causes the women to argue.
I know that very well.
Yeah. So this is how the calamity starts. Now there's a shortage of men. We got that calamity, and now you got women arguing women, where the women are supposed to be a womanhood. There's supposed to be some sort of sisterhood there, not the feminist variety, but there's supposed to be some togetherness, and the men are supposed to have some togetherness. But when you have all this competition, it destroys that. And that's why we're seeing such an imbalance in the black community. A lot of people like to say, hey, Jamal didn't grow up with a dad because his dad left him. And the truth be told, the state has a lot to do with that, has a lot to do with that. The welfare state, when the welfare state comes in under LBJ and they say to the woman, you want this welfare check? We're going to send somebody in to verify that your husband doesn't live there.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be the new daddy, So the state was, and the civil rights movement helped with the, me and Thaddeus go into detail about that. He gave a nice diatribe about that and what integration did and how that destroyed the black family, because that was the final touches. So what you're seeing today amongst black people and the dishevelment and the disorganization and the chaos is a result of systemic statism. A lot of people like to say it's racism. Maybe there's some racism in there, but we have a systemic statism or exploitation of communist systems, exploitation of socialist systems, and using socialist and communist systems to destroy people. And everybody's a victim of it. I'm just explaining why the black community is the way it is today. And that's why we don't have those role models. How can you have a role model when the women are fighting? How can you have a role model when the men are fighting? You know? So yeah, it's wild.
I think that it seems like I understand what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, and I agree with it because I worked. I might have told you, I don't know, but I worked in infectious disease for 7 years before did crypto full time, and I worked in the HIV/AIDS community. So that's a pharmacy I worked in. I had about 200 to 300 patients that I managed a month, and I made sure they got their medications. And I had all different types of people from all different races and communities. And there's in the HIV community, there's sub communities and lots of them. So you can have a black man that is gay, but he's also transgender. And you can also have the same thing with the white man or Hispanic. And then we have the women that are HIV positive, but then that have kids. And there's all this different stuff. And that's how I learned a lot of my people skills, is because I had to figure out to communicate with multiple different people from multiple different backgrounds and learn, not offend them and make sure their voice was heard and get them their stuff. And one of the things that I saw, and this is kind of crazy, is that I had some young gay men that would come in and they would to get tested, because we also did testing at the site, and they would want to get HIV/AIDS. And the reason why they would want to is because they got government funding. They would get their medication paid for. They would be able to get free housing. They would be able to get free healthcare. They would be able to get free food. They would always have and if they effed up and they got thrown out of their housing, they can just go back into the system and get, whatever. And this was because their parents would throw them out. It wasn't very often, but there were cases like that. And
Wow.
there were cases like that, and these guys would come in high on drugs, and they would, people talk to me because I try to, as my job is to help and to talk to people. So that's what they would say. So I understand what you're saying, is that the system is essentially oppressing people, because the way they make it, the way that the system is that if you're under a certain income, you get to apply for food stamps and for WIC and for SNAP. And if you keep having kids, you get more and more money. And I'm not saying that this is necessarily just prevalent to the black community, but it's to the white community, it's to Hispanics, it's to every single person in the United States who meets this criteria, who wants to stay in poverty. And I remember, I think I started off, when I started that job, I was making $15 an hour, which was double from what I was making because I was making minimum wage. And at that time, as I told you, I grew up poor. I didn't have a lot of aspirations for myself. That was a lot of money for me. I was like, oh my God. But these people were making more money than I was. And I actually had training to do this job, and my job was pretty complex. And I just remember thinking to myself, I'm like, so I'm driving all this way, I'm only making this amount of money, I'm working, doing all of these different tasks, and this person that's coming in to get their stuff, everything is paid for free, and then plus they're
Yeah.
prostituting on the side or doing whatever it is they're doing for extra money. So I 100% agree that the system is set up to keep people down. This is a little bit off topic, but just to kind of show you as an example, I had a client, he came to the United States legally with his green card. He was from Panama, either Panama or Colombia. And he was HIV positive. And he was told by his social worker in the United States, don't tell them when we sign the paperwork, I don't want you to mark down that you have your green card, because you won't get the free medication. You have to say that you're here illegally and you'll get the medication.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, man. You got some groups who they'll have children with a woman, have several homes.
Mm-hmm.
The man will have his address listed as another address, have the woman listed as another address, and the woman will gain income from the government while he's pretending to be separate from her. They
Mm-hmm.
have their own marriage that exists outside of the state, but according to the state, they are separated. So they're using certain classifications under the state to steal money from these systems,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just a whole racket that happens. And you got some people, like you said, who, they drop a baby, and as soon as that baby about to turn 18, they drop another one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I know. I seen it.
Yeah, I had a client. I'm not going to go into full details about her because it's a very heavy story, but she came here from Mexico and she was positive and she wanted to stay here. So she would just keep having kids.
See?
She kept having kids so that she can get more money. She was very difficult. She was not taking care of her children, and even though there, if you have a C-section, if you're HIV positive, it's very rare that it'll transfer over to the baby. But she would fight with her doctors. They're like, "No, I want a vaginal delivery. I want a vaginal delivery." And it was almost like she wanted to keep her kids. It was almost like she was doing everything in her power to keep her kids sick so she can continue to get extra benefits because if you have, like you said, if you check all the more boxes you check off, the more money you get.
Interesting. Interesting. You got me thinking, right? Like conspiracies theorists always talk about like population control.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they want population control as in genocide. I think they want population control as in exactly what it says, control of the population, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what they want is a good expiration date, right? They want once you become of age where they can no longer make money off of your body as a human resource, they want you to expire. And if you're born with defects that will not have you commit, they want you dead. And that's a conspiracy. So I'm not going to say anything more about that because the peoples might be watching. but dive down that rabbit hole. You just had me thinking that sidebar. I'm sorry, totally off topic.
No, no, I think it's important to address because this is it's a big topic. It's a pretty heavy topic. So we have, and also this, like some of the stuff you're talking about is very prevalent in the white community too. Like I would call them like white trash or trailer trash, but it's very, very prevalent to kind of have like an absentee father and to keep passing it down because what happens in the family is if my situation was a little bit different because my parents they had money at one time, then my dad got sick, and my situation is different, but you'll see that a lot in the white community to where aw, that's so sweet. But you'll see that in the white community where the man is like out doing whatever, and the wife is, or the whatever she is, she just keeps popping out kids and stuff like that. So when you take the father out of the home, when you take the male out of the home, I feel that it causes a lot of pressure for the female. The female is not able to be that great of a parent all the time. I'm not saying this in every situation. I'm just saying in some situations it takes away from the mom because then the mom not only has to be the mother, but then she has to be the father. And so that impacts, I mean, there's people that are able to grow up just fine without both parents. And there's a lot of really amazing single moms that hold it down. They bust their asses for their kids. They do amazing things. And all you women, I support you. I love what you guys do, but I don't want to take away from the fact of how hard it is. And I think that I feel like as a parent, like if I didn't have my man, it would be very, very hard. I don't know how my mom did it with 3 kids. I have no idea how she did it with 3 kids.
Let's come back to that thought about raising boys with female energy. Sketch Therapy, $2 super chat. He said, keep up the good work. I love y'all conversations. Sketch Therapy again. He says, shout out to Uncle Hotep always. Word up, word up. We'll be live tomorrow. Hotep's been told you 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time right here. Make sure you subscribe while you're here. Make sure you hit the like button. Let's talk female energy with boys, right? Because here's another problem in the black community. When you raise a boy with female energy, he handles all of his problems emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wonder why there's so much violence. See, when you got a boy with female energy, it's incompatible. You get chaos. And you even see it with Black Lives Matter, right? Like, that's not how a man would go about things, right? For example, another Thaddeus spoiler, but had this been George Floyd's situation handled by men, we would have just took him out, right? We would have neutralized him. And they did try. We had people that were outside his house and they had to have the police lock down that whole block, right? That's how men would have handled that situation. It wouldn't have been rioting, and that's tantrums, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a tantrum. That's female energy. And then you what you have is when you look at Black Lives Matter, it's wholly run by women and gay men.
Oh, I
So
didn't
you
know
have
that part.
oh, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that. I thought I saw a lot of female energy in it, which I was like, okay, cool. I didn't know it was by a bunch of by gay men as well, because then that puts a whole nother dynamic on the situation that I will speak on when you're done.
Black Lives Matter is an LGBT organization.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense then. A lot of sense.
Let me say it one more time. Black Lives Matter is an LGBT organization. I'll say it one more time. It's not a black organization. It is an LGBT organization. And it's started by three women. Two of them were lesbians or are lesbian. And that entire movement. I mean, the entire black political movement outside of anything that would be considered Hotep is run by what we would call paper on the wall Negroes, people that went to Ivy League schools, but mostly women and gay, effeminate men. And so when you see Black Lives Matter on TV in these places, outside of the gentrified Black Lives Matter, because there's something else now. There's a gentrified order of Black Lives Matter, right?
Okay.
Which is really like Antifa cloaked. So they'll have Antifa that runs under the banner of Black Lives Matter, like we saw in Seattle last night where they stormed that building, right? And they called it Black Lives Matter. But the original Black Lives Matter and the entire uh uh the consciousness, the totality of black consciousness is run by black women, mainstream wise. The only alternative to that is something you would deem Hotep.
That's a lot to take in right now.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And you know what? There's a lot of history here, right? This is something we've uncovered 5 years ago. Before, when did you create your Twitter account?
My Twitter account was from November 2017.
Okay, so before you even created a Twitter account, right? We were exposing Black Lives Matter 2 years before you created your Twitter account. 3 years before Trump decides to take office or decides to run, we were exposing Black Lives Matter as what this is. What you're seeing on the media and what people are purporting that Black Lives Matter is wholly a lie. What I've told you is the inside track. And it's a lot to digest because it's contrary to what you might believe it is.
Okay. So trying to process this, and I'll probably have more questions for you again next week because I like to when I hear something, I like to kind of really digest it. But I guess my question is, if there's a lot of black men that are being killed by police unjustly, and there's
Mhm.
this violence that it's occurring, why wouldn't some of the leaders be black men that are going to go ahead and kind of lead the movement, because aren't they the ones that are being impacted the most?
You just hit it on the head.
Okay.
That is the argument. When
Okay.
we first exposed Black Lives Matter, well, what happened was this. I was saying things, and the people who lambasted me, I noticed in their Twitter profile they had the rainbow flag and Black Lives Matter. So after a while, I said, let me investigate this thing. So I hit the Black Lives Matter website, and on there under villages, it said mothers, parents, and children. They completely omitted the word father. In fact, you couldn't find any mention of a male on the website unless it was about something negative, like domestic violence.
I'm like, I got a question, but how could you omit men from the website when the violence is being directed towards the men? Isn't that counterproductive?
This is why we don't mess with Black Lives Matter. This is why I'm anti Black Lives Matter, because it makes no sense. How do we go from black men dying in the street to, oh my God, trans people are in trouble?
Okay.
Right? And this is the switcheroo that the white liberal has played on us since the civil rights movement.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay.
So when you look at, you have to feel sorry for these people, right? So when you look at these black people who are online and they're mad at you and your privilege, you have to understand that these people have been completely enslaved Black man get on his knees and start. I mean, white man gets on his knees and the black man starts crying. It touches him. These people are completely indoctrinated. They got Stockholm syndrome, but they've been completely they've been colonized. So when you're looking at them, you're not looking at a whole individual. You're looking at someone who's a victim of propaganda from the day they were born. So you got to just feel sorry for them. You can't even fault them sometimes because it's just like, damn, your idea of reality has been painted for you since birth and you've never deviated. And the white liberal controls all of that. When you listen to that Thaddeus Russell interview, you're gonna be like,
my brain is already like, because I had no idea that they were omitting men from the website, because I thought that that's what this was all about, is that the justice for because generally I know that there was some women, some black women that were unjustly murdered, and I get that, but I thought that majority of the violence from police to black people was against males. But of course there is outliers. There's women that were treated unjustly as well. But I don't understand how shouldn't they have some black men, like black straight men that may have had injustice, may have been treated unjustly by the police, as advocates for them, like as part of the board and stuff? Like, isn't that going to help?
The biggest enemy to the black man and the black family as a whole is a black female liberal with a college degree. That is our biggest enemy. Number one, they have an article on the Root, and it says black men are the white people of black people. This is what they write about us. They say that we are oppressing black women. They say Hoteps want to replace white supremacy so they can be the new patriarchy and rule over black women.
Okay, so this is the thing. Like, in my marriage, I do have a voice. I do talk to my husband about things that I think that are important. And sometimes we don't always see eye to eye on stuff, but at the end of the day, I like having a strong man saying, you're going to do this. This is what's good for the family. That he hears what I say. He may not agree with me. He may not implement everything I say. I might not implement anything he says. But if I wanted somebody if I wanted a cuck, I would be a lesbian, or I would date someone that's not a man. Like, my husband he's a man's man, and he there's something he doesn't want me doing, he's going to say, you're not going there, you're not doing this. And the reason why that is important is because part of it was because of my upbringing. I grew up without a father, so I know at times I didn't grow up with a male figure. So I know I missed a lot growing up. Another thing too is, and they've done studies on this, if you have a child, and a child, let's say your child throws their toy truck at you. If mom comes in and says, little Hotep, you threw that truck, that's bad, don't do that. Or however they say it, the kid is probably going to do it again. But if you have a man come in the man voice, and you discipline the kid, there's going to be a different outcome. And that's why it is so important to have a man in the house, because the man is going to help with the child. And maybe not with everything, but in that aspect of disciplinary, that's what's going to happen. Because when I have problems with my daughter, I say, you go talk to your dad. And she's 3.5, and she goes, no, don't tell dad. I says, oh yes, we're telling dad. She knows, because the voice is different. Completely different. And I remember growing up, again, didn't grow up with a father. My mom, what she would do sometimes when my sister was the worst one, the middle sister, she was really, really bad. What my mom used to do, she used to call my dad's brother to have my dad try to talk sense to her, and my sister would be good. She would be good for a little bit, and then she would be bad again. But it was a big difference with the man's voice, whatever. So I don't, but the thing is like, you're talking about that there's there's a lot less black men in the community. So there's like, the ratio is like 4-1. So wouldn't these women not these women, but wouldn't women, if that's,
yes. So you're talking about the Hotep women now. Now Hotep black woman is going to be like Shahrazad Ali and talk about how important the black man is and how important we need to have our men. And they make mistakes. They might not be perfect, but we still got to stick by his side, So you have that. So what they've done was they've named them, these type of women, pick me, basically saying when they exalt or say something good about a man, they're doing so they get picked by a man. So they call them pick me's and they make fun of women like that.
No,
See what I'm saying?
they shouldn't do that though, because I like me personally as a woman, regardless of my background, I like structure in my life, and I have a very structured life is because, my husband, he gets up every morning at like 4 a.m. He gets up, he goes to work every single day. Like I like to have structure. And you know what? And taking let's talk about this. Human beings are not perfect. Some men cheat. It doesn't, regardless of race, it's going to happen. Some men are abusive. It's going to happen. Some men are, maybe are not very don't know how to communicate. That just happens. It's just part of people in general. So I don't think, my mind is like doing
So
this right
so
now.
so so look at this. We talked about the man of the household. So what happens is there's nobody to protect these women when they're little girls, and predators are able to enter their life,
Hmm.
right? So they're either scarred by predators, or they resent men for not being there. So when they grow up and they go to college and they get their degree, and CNN gives them a platform, they feel all high and mighty, like, oh, I did it without a man type thing. And there's this old mantra that used to be in the black community, like, I don't need a man, right? I don't need a man. Like, this was something that would be in her speech. I could do bad all by myself,
Why would you
right?
want to do bad?
This is the speech that they gave us, you know what I mean? and
Hmm.
and it became part of our vernacular and our vocabulary. But this is what we're dealing with today, is where the black movement is mainstream is controlled by these type of women who have said that black men are actually the problem. So they'll use the dead black man in the streets to create a conversation, and that conversation will quickly turn into, look what's happening to women, look what's happening to trans women, or you know what I mean, and that whole thing. Yeah. So they like to, it's all Alinsky style. You create the conversation and you direct it, into another arena.
But when we're talking about like a traditional nuclear family, it trans is a different topic. So I don't think it should, I'm not saying this to you, but just in general, trans should not be included in it because it's a
They
completely,
don't believe in the family. They want
we
the
need to
Black
do.
Lives Matter website, Wendy, says they want to destroy the nuclear family. They want
No,
to
we need
disrupt it.
we need the nuclear family. That's the problem.
They want to disrupt. They just issued a new statement, new plans. And in the plan says trans and all that, but disrupt the family, disrupt the nuclear family. This is in the Black Lives Matter plans. I'm not making this up.
No,
It's public information.
no, I'm not saying that. I'm just the family dynamics are very important. Like at least the way I would
So, so,
like.
so look at this. So look at this. Do you think a culture could ever recover from it when the motherhood of that culture doesn't even want a family?
Then why have kids?
Because the government gonna pay you to have them.
But to me that's being fucking selfish.
Absolutely.
To me, I because I grew up without a father, with which was beyond my control. So and I remember I was a little girl. This was before my father died, because we had gone from living in my mom and dad, they did well for themselves. My dad was in traditional finance, Jewish guy, worked very, very, very hard. My mom, they always used to buy brand new houses, and they would flip houses. They, because my dad would get transferred around for work. So we had a brand new house where we lived. It was a 4 bedroom. There's 3 kids. Big beautiful house, big backyard, and I remember the day that we moved out of the house to go live in the 1 bedroom and the two bedroom townhome with my grandma and my aunt. My grandma and aunt had one room. Me and my mom, my 2 sisters, we had the other room. I remember telling my mom, I don't care if dad has to come sleep in the room, if we all have to share this bedroom together. I just want my dad. That's what I
Mm.
told my mom. And I remember that because I just wanted my dad there. I wanted both my parents there. I was little. I was like 7 at the time. And to me, and that's why one of the reasons, because I'm older, I'm in my 30s, my early 30s. And I told my husband, I says, we're going to have kids, we're going to be married, and we're going to buy a house. I'm going to do my best to do this the right way. And I don't really believe in divorce. Like once you're married, that's it. If things happen and you need to figure it out, you do that, and that's your business, and that's mine and my husband's business. But when it comes to our daughter, I don't want her to grow up without both of her parents. I think it's so important to have both of the parents, because why have kids if you don't have both of the parents? Like there's some situations where you do, like where like, where they're kids that do need to be adopted, and sometimes, it's like an older woman that's a career woman, she didn't have a time to get married, settle down, and she adopts a kid. That's beautiful. Any person, any human being that is a good person, that has a good heart, if they have the ability to adopt a child and the love to do so, God bless them. But I don't think it's right to willingly bring a child into the world if you don't intend to do your best, do your best. You have it, because it's not about you anymore, it's about the child. You have to think about how that's going to impact the child. Like obviously kids grow up fucked up all the time, like stuff happens, but why not try your best to do it correctly?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the problem is this: liberal propaganda. When they enter these universities, they come out fucked up.
Well, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing when I went to this kind of, I was in business. I was what I studied in school, but the stuff that was even taught to us, like, they made the dumbest, probably the stupidest thing in school was taking all these GE classes. I went to community college. You take all the GE classes there. You take GE classes in high school. Why am I going to business school and taking a GE class where I need to learn about Chicana studies or African American studies or like women's literature? Like that stuff is important if I'm going to do like work
Because
in.
you're not going there for that. You going there to get brainwashed.
And that's what I'm saying. It's
That's what
ridiculous.
that institution is for. It's not to educate you. You can educate yourself, especially now with the internet,
Oh yeah.
right? But that's what it's for.
That, and to me that's a big problem. Like if you want to learn about another culture, more power to you, but it's like, why am I paying $40,000 when I can just pick a book up and I can learn about Chicana studies there, or I can just go talk to my freaking husband and ask him. Like, like I don't understand why they're forcing people to pay this stuff. And I even had a music professor. This was my last semester, and he was a pretty cool professor. He talked about, a lot like the music industry and how, a lot of black artists got their music stolen, which that is a fact. It happens all the time, and it happened a lot back then. There was a lot of discrimination, a lot of racism, and it still happens today. There's a lot of stuff that happens, and that's true. But one thing he didn't do, there was some artists that did, like some white artists. I want to say it was the Rolling Stones. I want to say it was Frank Sinatra. And I want to say it was some country, like outlaw country singers from way back when. But a lot of their big influences were black musicians. But he
Especially the
didn't,
Rolling Stones.
he didn't talk about that. So I would be raising my hand. I was like, well, didn't so and so credit this person? And didn't he do this? And he take him on tour and did that, da, 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 da. He's like, oh yeah, but we're not going to cover that. I'm like, but if you're going to talk about racism and you're going to talk about black people being treated indifferently and having their music stolen and all this stuff, why not highlight some of the people that did the right thing and stood up for them? Like, it's important to talk about what happened and the injustice that was done, but why not talk about the people that did right by them? Like, that's important too. Like, there should be, not everybody is bad.
Because they have to paint that bad picture. So when you leave college, you want to be an activist. And then your activism is shaped by that liberal propaganda.
My goal is to make money and donate to causes that make me feel good. One of my favorite causes to donate to, it is a house that is that's in the neighborhood. But what they do is, it is a house for individuals suffering from domestic violence. They let all different people from all different races come in, and they let their kids come, and they even let men that come. So if a man is in an abusive relationship, has got nowhere to go, you go there, they take you and the kids in. So it's not just to women, it caters to everybody. But that's where I donate to. When I got extra money, I donate to them.
Yeah, yeah. You reminded me of something. I wanted to do a video on how to donate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this spawned from somebody. We were in a group chat, and the guy goes, "Do you guys know of any organizations that are right leaning?" And I'm like, "Dude, Hotep Nation is a nonprofit organization. Black Guns Matter is a nonprofit organization. There's another dude in this chat. Why do you want to like go outside of your immediate circle to support something, right? And the point is this: donate to something you can keep an eye on, so you
Mm-hmm.
can watch it grow, right? You know, you find something local, right? That you can donate to, so you can just drive down there and just check up and see how your investment is going. Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are concerned about donating to things and not never knowing if it was effective or not. So I always say, you find something local or find somebody in your circle, donate to that, you know, and watch that grow. You know, there's a lot of people that donate to Hotep Nation, right? And I'm thankful for all of them. And they're all got a lot of people that sometimes they're like, I'm going to increase my donation. Instead of $1, it's $5 now. Instead of $5, it's $10 now. You know, so you have that type of thing. But the sea is growing, right? And you so you can monitor it. It's different if, let's say, our quality stay the same, right? Like I never bought the mic, I never tried to upgrade the software and that type of stuff. You're like, oh, this guy's just trying to take our money, you know? But when you see people like working and trying to do things and you see the Joe Rogan thing happen, you're like, well, looks like my money's going in the right place,
Mm-hmm.
right? So donate the stuff you can keep an eye on so you can watch your investment. It's like a plant. You want to water it, you want to watch it grow too.
No, I agree with that, and that's why I don't really talk like, publicly. I don't really talk about what I donate to, but I kind of wanted to talk about it here because I think it's important. It's a local organization. It doesn't cater to a specific group of people. Well, it does, but it's not like that's like only white people or only black people or only whatever. It's like you could be any type of person. You can come in and you can bring your kids and I probably the fact that it involves kids because I have a soft spot for kids, so that's what I donate to. So you won't catch me donating to any political whatever because it's just there's just so much stuff that goes into it. So I guess to kind of because I got some other stuff I want to talk about because I appreciate you taking the time to explain and educate me about different aspects of this organization because I was not aware of all those things prior and it's actually a little bit infuriating to me because it takes away from the original message at hand because yeah, I don't like hypocrites. But so in
Mm.
closing,
I got some breaking news for you.
okay, let's do it.
I was supposed to have a talk with Torre. Torre is a prominent black liberal figure, typical paper on the wall Negroes, gone to some of the finer institutions in America. Um, been on TV. We were supposed to have a talk. Just checked my DMs just now to promote our show that we're live for. I wanted to go retweet the tweet, and I saw him in my DMs, and he says, "I don't think I can do this." So he's backed out of the conversation with me. Um, Mark Lamont Hill inquired about having a conversation with me about race relations and what's happening in America. Haven't heard back from him. But this is what we're talking about in Black America, how the Black liberal uh, will not have conversations uh, that are not approved, so to speak. And their handlers let them know they can't get too close to Hotep Jesus. Um, Now, why? Why is that? Because if the people get eyes on me, the people get eyes on Uncle Hotep, those dudes, and the Hotep philosophy, these activists will be out of business. Black Lives Matter will be out of business. George Soros will be out of business. You know, because people, when you show people real, they go, how haven't we seen, like you said before, like, how come I haven't heard about some of this stuff? Like, it's opening your mind, right? About Black Lives Matter and so forth. So if they ever gave me that platform to let me expose what's happening, oh man, it would ruin a guy like Torre. So
See, the issue I have with him denying you, he's not giving you a voice. And that's not
they can't give me a voice.
they should give you a voice because then they can prove their argument. Then they can debate somebody with a different perspective instead of talking to another soundboard and having it or in the echo chamber and having it come back. So he's doing disservice to his community and to his followers by not interacting with you because he's not going to be able to have a logical debate with somebody.
Nothing further to say.
Okay, so
I just wanted to say that to show you why the black community is the way it is. So when you see your friends acting a certain way, feel sorry for them. You got to feel sorry for them because they don't even get to hear the other side of the argument from a black voice. Because people like Torre will not allow it to happen. Because people like Mark Lamont Hill will not allow it to happen. Because Roland Martin and the rest of them won't allow it to happen. This is why. This is why.
it's really, really, really upsetting. I'm like pissed right now, like really
The
pissed.
black liberals are the gatekeepers and the indoctrinators of the black community, and they are, like I said before, the effeminates are wholly to blame for our condition. It's not the white man; it is wholly the black liberal who holds us back.
That's upsetting. It really, really is because
It is.
it's 2020. We should be focusing on like moving forward. Like obviously not forgetting what happened in history and not saying, and still discussing and talking about it. But if you want to move forward, you do have to acknowledge it and you do have to come up with creative solutions to make things work. And
Solutions put activists out of business.
well, that makes me mad because I want to look at things from like a logical perspective, and I want to hear conflicting opinions of like if somebody disagrees with me, come tell me what your problem is with me. Tell me what you don't like. Let's talk about it. I've had many conversations with people in the crypto and blockchain community. They're like, we don't like you because you do da 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 da. I'm like, okay, well, come on my show and debate me.
And let's talk. Right, right.
They don't want to talk to me. They don't want to talk to me.
They scared.
They don't want to talk to me, and it's very, very, very upsetting because I'm like, you're here trashing me, tarnishing my name, and then you won't talk to me. Like I'm giving you a platform to come on and talk to me. No one ever wanted to. I think there's a time period where there was like 5 of the larger accounts in crypto, and they were just trashing me over and over and over. They fucked with my business. They fucked with a lot of stuff.
Mm.
But I'm still here. I'm still strong. And every single one of them come on my show. No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to. But then for months, trashing Wendy. Wendy does this, Wendy does that. Okay, come on my show. No, we don't want to. Then
You know,
get my fucking name out your mouth.
you ever watch wrestling like WWF,
Yes.
WWE?
When I was a
Okay.
kid, yeah.
You ever seen tag
Mm-hmm.
team matches? Okay. What I want you to do next time that happens is tag me in and let me handle their
I
asses.
will.
Tag me in. I don't care what it's about. Next time you got a problem with one of them crypto geeks, them little crypto. Let me not say the wrong thing. One of them crypto geeks, one of them crypto incels. You tag Hotep Jesus and let me handle their asses. And watch how they change their tune. Yeah, we about to turn up. Y'all want to act stupid? Let's go.
So you're gonna catch them with that cash tag block.
Oh no, we're not blocking them. We're gonna expose their asses. You see, block it has a purpose, but sometimes fools need to be exposed.
People, fuck everyone. Just kidding.
No,
Not
we're gonna clean the culture up of Bitcoin Twitter. We're going to clean it up.
and now there's another issue within the community. Now, my homegirl, she DM'd me. She's like, "What the fuck?" Apparently, there's I got to reread the thread about it, but apparently there was a woman that was like, "I don't feel," or she said something about explaining Bitcoin to her, and she was just being really antagonistic. And like, so I even chimed in the thread. I'm like, well, it does da 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 da. This is why it's important. She didn't respond to me, but then she started fighting with my girl and was saying, well, this doesn't really help me. Like, it doesn't help the way you said it doesn't really help me, or this use case doesn't work for me. And it was like every single response that everybody gave to her was the same thing. Like, this doesn't help me, and this is whatever. So it's like, if this is not helping you, then just shut up. Like,
Yeah,
why? It's just like if you're not going to
yeah.
move the community forward, if you don't care about moving forward and being positive with it, just shut up. Like
Word.
because like the reason why I'm still in crypto out of all the shit that I've dealt with, I legitimately want to help people. Like
Right.
I want to be the person that brand new people come in the space. They're like, oh, she's a mom. She's this, she's that. And that breaks it down very easily for them to understand because I understand the power of Bitcoin and how it can help, essentially change the financial system. And
Mm.
so I want to be that voice for people. Yes, I'm not as tech savvy as other people, but I do have skills. I know how to talk to people. I know how to break complex things down if it's explained correctly to me. So I do think that I can be an asset. And at the end of the day, that's what my goal is to make others feel welcome that maybe didn't come from this white hierarchy of ivory towers, because that's what we see in the community, a lot of bullshit that goes on. Because I came from nothing. I know what it feels like to be judged for whatever it is, and I legitimately want to help kids, especially like the junior high school kids. That's, to me, that's where it's at, is those kids, because I think they're the ones that are going to change the world, not these people, not people that are my age, not people that are your age, the kids, the babies. But
Word, hell yeah. Let me say some super chats here. Chi Maechi Eke Kug Bor. $3 super chat, thank you. Message was retracted, not sure why. Khalil McFadden, $4.99, thank you. He said, salute to this convo. Hotep, you're one of the best voices right now. We all appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Mr. McFadden. Uh, Liberty Raider, $20 super chat. Thank you. Gatekeepers want to keep you hidden, Hotep. Keep spreading the word. Thank you. Appreciate you. And you are 100 on point. One like equals one like for Wendy and Hotep. Hell yeah. Hit the like button.
Hit
The
that like
like
button, you guys. So I guess in closing, talking about what we were talking about, we talked about the importance of the strong male role model in the Black community and why it's so important. And I think that it, like, obviously in the Black community is important because of, especially because of the issues that you just touched on. But I think a strong male role model is important for every single community. I think all kids need a man that they can look up to, whether it's a little boy or a girl. And we kind of talked about, we touched on the importance of a strong female role model. And I guess I want to just add to this conversation stating that being a strong woman is important, but also, I don't want to say knowing your place, because I don't necessarily.
Stay in your lane is more like it.
Okay, well, I can say stay in your lane. Like, support your man, support your family, whatever the family dynamic is. Find out where you fit in and do what you can do as a woman that doesn't make you feel silenced, that doesn't make you feel like your voice isn't getting heard, but do what you can as a woman to be a positive force for the children and to be a positive force for your man. Help uplift him, because at the end of the day, your man is going to reciprocate that, and it's going to be good for the kids.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's just what I think. And I guess during this time, like, and I talked about this a little bit on the show last time, but the way my husband and I, the way we're dealing with, like, as our daughter's young, and oh, this is a funny story.
Okay.
So my daughter does not know my daughter does not know the difference between black and white and brown or whatever. Like, I look like a white girl, and my husband's darker than me because he's part Hispanic and Native American, Italian, whatever. So my daughter does not know the difference between skin color, like, at all. So we went to go out to eat.
And how
And
old is she?
huh?
How old is she again?
She's 3.5.
3, right. Okay.
So we went out to eat. And of course, my daughter does not know the difference between skin color, but she knows the difference between weight. So the waitress that we had was a bigger girl. And as the lady walked by, my daughter goes, "Why is her belly so much bigger than everybody else's?" And I was mortified. So I'm happy to report to Hotep and Hotep's community, my daughter.
That's a huge bitch.
My daughter does not know. She does not know the difference between race or ethnicity, but if you're not in shape, she may tell you that.
Oh my god. I would have fell on the floor.
I was like, my eyes are like so big. But I guess, like, in closing about this, because I do want to talk about J.K. Rowling and
Let me promote some people here. Sketch Therapy, welcome. You are now a moderator. And I'm gonna find Kristen Mana. You are now also a moderator. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to do that real quick.
no, of course. Yeah. So I don't know. I just, as far as it goes with kids, do whatever you can do to be a positive force to them. And if they have a difference of opinion than you, just listen to them and try not to push your values too terribly hard. Just make sure that their voices are heard. Why are you laughing over there?
Brody in the chat said, "Chicken and beans keep you skinny."
You know what? You know what, Brody?
Yo, real talk. When you eat chicken and beans, you ain't gonna get too big.
I lost a pound this week. I'm very proud of myself.
The chicken and bean paleo diet.
Oh my god. Oh my god. My husband brought home bean and cheese burritos with guacamole today, so I ate that.
Oh my god. So what's up with J.K. Rowling?
Okay, so did you see the tweet that I sent you? Or did yeah, I sent let's look it up because
She
I want
she
to.
she she said they they describe women as humans who menstruate.
Well, yes, and the important thing about that, where the heck is it? Is do where is that? I can't find. Oh, here. If sex is, or this is what she said, and she tweeted it out on June 6th. If sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth. And then she went on and was going da 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 da. So basically, she's saying that there's
No, that's not the tweet. You gotta read the one about the when she said the about women.
where is that one?
It's right. I think it's after that one. Right after that one.
The next one says the idea that women like me who have been empathetic to trans people for decades, feeling kinship because they're vulnerable in the same way as women, i.e., to male violence, hate trans people because they think sex is real and has lived consequences. It's nonsense.
Mm,
Oh
mm,
no, I can't.
mm.
I can't find the one that you're talking about menstruating.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, she there was another tweet up there where she was talking about they probably made it. The mom probably made her delete it. But yeah, she said women are more than just human beings who menstruate because that's what they're trying to describe women as now, like a human being who menstruates, right? And it's just like, yo, a woman is way more than that, and it's like, how can you just erase women like that, So again, this is that liberal, that white liberal socialist agenda to destroy the sexes, and yeah, so
I like being a woman. I like all the parts that come with being a woman. Menstruating is not the most fun thing, but it does classify me as a woman, and I think that it's important because without that, I cannot have carry children. And I was able because I am a woman. Yes, of course, the man is it does have to be a part of it with the sperm, but I liked being pregnant and I liked being able to give life, and I also liked being able to sustain a child with my body, with my breast milk for the first year of her life. So I was not only able to carry her and to nurture her, but also, keep her alive with just off of my body, with nothing else, just off of my body. And
yeah.
there's a difference between someone, if a dude decides one day that he wants to become a woman and get that change, handle your business, find you a man or a woman or somebody that loves you, do whatever you guys want to do. If you decide you guys want to get married and adopt kids and you're good people, I don't give a fuck what you do, but you're not a woman. You are a person that decided that you wanted to change sexes, but you still does not make you a woman. You'll never be a woman.
Can't say that on Twitter. Got to
Uh,
get you banned.
I know that Zuby, he said okay dude to somebody and he didn't know that they were trans or something, and he got like banned for like a week.
Yeah, yeah. You can't misgender, and yeah, all the things Orwell warned us about.
Well, I don't know. And that's kind of worrisome to me because when my daughter does go to high school, if they do open the high schools up one day and she does want to partake in sports, I do feel that like if she let's say she wanted to wrestle and I'm just saying if she wanted to wrestle, she wants to wrestle against, other girls, that's good, but if she's going to wrestle against a trans girl, that's not a girl, it's still a dude.
And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring trans women into sports.
No, I don't. I don't. There's a biological difference. Like no matter. Like, don't get me wrong. I could box.
Science is racist.
Science is not racist. Science is real. Math is real. Like math and science. Oh my god, I got to tell you something that I saw on Twitter. It made me so mad. It's not related to relationships, but it pissed me the fuck off because it was regarding math and science. And math and science it's real. But don't get me wrong. I could box. I can take down a dude if I had to, but I can take down a female faster than I could a dude because of the biological differences. And it's like whatever. So if you guys are watching this and this offends you, I'm not sorry for it. It's just my opinion. And like,
It is what it is. I said what I said.
I said what I said. So this, yeah, so the next thing I saw is my buddy, he posted it, but apparently Black Lives Matter was, they want to defund schools now, which which I'm going to give the pros and cons about it. There's a lot of negative things that do go on with schools regarding indoctrination and some of the stuff that they teach, because they whitewash a lot of history. They take out, a lot of the racism that occurred, and they don't talk about, they tend to focus on other groups instead of some groups, because a lot of people don't know that when Italians and Irish people first came to the United States, they were treated like complete dog shit, even though they helped build the United States. My grandfather, when he immigrated here legally, he helped build the railroads. And when the Great Depression hit, and he had a job and worked, and he got the coupons to eat the food, because they had food and because he had a job, he would give the coupons to different people in the community that had no food.
Mm,
So
mm, mm.
so there's that. But apparently Black Lives Matter they want to defund schools, and they were protesting something about STEM, which STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
We call it STEAM because
Okay.
we don't in the Hotep community we call it STEAM thanks to master teacher Dr. Kaba Kamene. He calls it STEAM because we don't leave out art.
Okay. Well, they want to defund STEAM or STEM, and my issue with that is that STEM, a lot of aspects in STEM, revolve around mathematics and science, and those are the fields that, if you feel that you're not getting good jobs, if you educate yourself in mathematics and science, that's how you get into medical school. That's how you become engineers. So I feel like that's counterproductive to the children that are or the poor children that are interested in those subjects, that's their
Are you beginning to understand why the black community looks the way it does?
well, I just think that
Think about what you just said. They want to defund STEM. They don't want to teach black kids about technology. The human evolution is wholly relying upon technology.
it is. That's
From the
technology is the
wheel,
future.
from the wheel, from moving from horses to cars, from cars to planes, from planes to rocket ships. Our entire evolution is based upon technology, these apps and phones and things we use. Our life revolves around the Wi Fi that we use and the 5G that we use. But they don't want the black people to learn about it. Why? Because they don't want the black community to have any power. And in the next 10 years, all the power is going to shift to tech people.
Mm-hmm.
It already is there, but it's going to completely shift to anybody who understands tech. Tech is going to be so dominant in our life that in the next 50 years, maybe less, everybody's going to be some sort of technical expert compared to an individual today. If you were to go into the future 50 years from now and grab somebody that was a bum on the side of the street, he'd be a tech geek according to today's standards. This is how much technology is about to take over our lives. And this is why the black community is the way it is, because they say stupid shit like, now, don't get me wrong, I am totally for defunding schools. I'm totally for defunding schools. I am totally for let's talk about what happens if you defund schools, right? Because they say defund doesn't mean defund, but we're going to say defund. Let's say you defund schools and these black kids in these neighborhoods no longer have access to things. Guess who's going to have to come fit that bill? Jay-Z, Beyonce, and their friends. And I think they will. And I think that if the white man left us alone and said, "Hey, you're on your own," I think we could do a lot better by ourselves. Um, so I'm totally for defunding schools. I am not totally for defunding schools if the liberal writes the policy. If you allow the liberal to write the defund policy, oh, they will put you underneath another form of state, another form of statism is what you will be under. And I'll take some time to think about it because it's the first time I've heard this defund. I saw the STEM thing come across my timeline. I was like, this is too absurd for me even to pay attention to
I'm
right
going to
now.
send it to you because my friend tweeted it and I commented, and I'm like, STEM is like the STEM is so important because math and science are like the only it's like the only truth in the world, because math, I mean, 1 + 1 is 2. Like, it's always been that way. Like, you can't change that. And if anything, STEM is going to get people out of poverty, regardless of what race you are, because if you're able to understand these complex topics and actually understand them and to apply them to a field, that is valuable to somebody, because math and science are very hard to understand. Most people do not have STEM minds. So if you're a black person or a white person or a Hispanic, and you're able to understand these complex topics and apply them to a specific field, people are going to want that, and they are going to pay you good money for that, because it's not something that everybody is good at, and that will get you out of the hood, that will get you off of the street. So why take away an opportunity from a child that could change their life? And that's why I'm so passionate about introducing blockchain technology and the idea of Bitcoin into schools and into like junior high kids and high school kids. Bitcoin is not, and don't get this twisted, Bitcoin will not fix racism. Racism will always be there, but it can be used as a tool to get people out of poverty and to do well.
We have to come on your channel and discuss Bitcoin as a form of oppression.
Yeah, because there's that's another very interesting topic to talk about, and I want to have you come on to talk about.
Because there's some people that are walking around here saying that the black community needs Bitcoin. And really what they're saying is we need the black community. That's what they're saying. Because they know once the black community grabs something, we make it mainstream, right? So they're trying to get us to adopt it to make this thing go mainstream because we know how to make things cool. And I'm here to tell everyone that if you force not blockchain, I'm sorry, if you force Bitcoin on the black community, you're just giving them a new slave master.
Well, that's why we need to really discuss it, because Bitcoin is very, people say that it's very diverse and it's for everyone, and yes, it can be, but if you start to really examine what goes on in the industry, and
It only benefits a few.
it does only benefit if you.
It's a new 1%.
Yes and no, and the crypto community is going to hate me for saying that, but just the type of experience that Bitcoin is, and don't get me wrong, Bitcoin has changed my life. It has made my life for the better. It is taught. If without Bitcoin, I wouldn't know how to market. I wouldn't know how to do sales. I wouldn't know how to communicate with people as well. I wouldn't have learned about a bunch of different cultures. I wouldn't have had my own business. I wouldn't have learned to trade. There's a lot of things that Bitcoin has done for me, but at the end of the day, the people, the OGs, the people that have been in crypto for a very, very long time, it is a bunch of white dudes that
Yeah,
have been caught saying using racial slurs, and they also don't like women.
yeah. When you're dealing with Bitcoin, you're just with a new Wall Street, right? So I used to teach investing online or, give hints to investing online and stocks and all that. And I stopped because what I realized was it was a conflict of interest. I don't like Wall Street. So why would I promote their stock market, their market? Why would I promote that? But I I still invest, right? So I'm definitely invested in the stock market. I still manipulate the market. I get my money from the market. But the same thing that helps you kills you. And that's what the stock market is. That's what Wall Street is. The same thing that makes you rich also kills the guy that's next to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of these, I don't know, it's not even a necessary evil. It's just a good evil, right? But it's inherently evil. And that's what I see in Bitcoin. I see something where when we talk to the black community about it, we have to put it in context and say, hey, you should probably be invested in this thing because it's going to be powerful. But it's just a new Wall Street.
Well, when I talk, because when I go places, if I get in a conversation with somebody and they ask what I do, explain to them what I do, and I'm more interested in talking to people that I know, that where they come from, because I do think it could change their life. I don't ever tell them to buy Bitcoin. I don't say that, because a lot of people say buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin does this. Bitcoin does that. No, Bitcoin is a tool, and you have to understand that it is a tool.
Right.
If you That's why I say don't buy Bitcoin, don't invest in it. I say look it up. If the ideology works for you and you understand it, or if you have questions, come talk to me. But there's a good ideology behind it. And just because you are about Bitcoin doesn't mean you necessarily have to buy it. I do think it is. I won't say I don't think it is. I won't say it's a good investment. I myself am invested in it, but I think the tools that you can learn from from understanding what Bitcoin is. It might help you figure out a career path if you're kind of stuck. There's a lot of job opportunities in the space for different types of people, and I think that especially people that come from the streets, I think that they can probably benefit from it the most. But I'm not going to tell you to go buy Bitcoin, because I don't think buying Bitcoin is going to solve shit unless you really understand what the purpose of it and what it's used for. And I don't think that it's really appropriate to kind of pawn it off on a specific community without a guide.
Yeah, I think in order to get involved with Bitcoin, the first thing people need to do is read the Bitcoin standard. Until you read the Bitcoin standard, you shouldn't touch anything as far as money is concerned and investments are concerned. You ever read that book?
The Bitcoin standard, I have not.
You should read it.
I know I need to. I know I need to read it. I just get, I get busy, and then
Yeah. I mean, it's just a phenomenal read. It doesn't have much to do with Bitcoin, but it's a phenomenal read.
Right, but there's a lot of people that are pushing it. They're pushing Bitcoin, and that's great, but it's not going to stop racism, and that's what people need to understand. It's not going to stop racism, even though they say it's a decentralized currency. There's still going to be people that are involved in it, and that are still going to.
Somebody controls that protocol. Somebody makes the decisions for the protocol. Let's move on to the next topic.
Yes, let's move on to the next topic. Okay, so what did I want to talk about? Oh, there's two more things. Okay, we talked. So there was a ban placed in the UK that says you can't have sex because of COVID.
Are you serious?
I sent it to you.
How do they monitor that?
Let me go back. Let me pull you up.
They probably using contact tracing. And they see you
where the fuck is it? Oh, here
occupying the same space.
Okay, Corona. This is from Forbes. Forbes posted it. Coronavirus sex ban in Britain has people frolicking and the government mocked. So basically, it announced an extension of the confinement, which began on March 23rd. The Prime Minister, parks and public spaces are open to up to 6 people, but they don't want you fucking. I don't know how they're going to monitor it, but they don't want you. They don't want you having intercourse because they says that it could.
So you have to understand that the United States is headed in that path. And is if you want to look at how the UK is run, that's the path we're headed for, where you won't have the right to have sex with your partner. What's the next topic?
Okay, we got. Did you do MFK or no?
I did.
Okay, you want to do?
I remember this week.
All right, do you want to? Okay, I got some MFK for you. You want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, tell me.
I got Eminem, MGK, and Vanilla Ice.
Who's MGK?
Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh, okay. So you got Eminem, Machine Gun Kelly, and Vanilla Ice. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of Vanilla Ice.
I figured that
because he's broke. Right. I would probably just F MFK because he's a kid still. And then I would probably marry Eminem because I think that he would be more like
he got the longevity.
He's
right?
got the longevity. And you know what? I think he's a very educated man. I think we could have good conversations.
Yeah.
So
you like Eminem? You listen to his music?
I used to when I was younger, but I'm not too much into that now. I grew up listening to like a lot of punk rock and different rap. I love G-Funk. Like that's like probably my favorite kind of rap is G-Funk. My favorite rapper is Sugar Free. Love him.
Okay, so you like Warren G and Nate Dogg?
I love that kind of stuff because it's like LBC stuff. It's close to where I am. I like that type of stuff. I used to hang out in Long Beach. I hung out in Southgate and South Central and all kinds of fun.
Tripping on a whole new era. Rhythm is the bass and the bass is the treble, chords, strings. We brings melodies. And rhythm is life and life is rhythm. If you know like I know, then you high like every day. Yo, that's my shit, yo.
It's good stuff. I love it. I really, really like funk music. So yeah. I could get down that. So I got some for you. I got Jenna Jameson.
Wow. Okay.
Doja Cat. I don't think I gave her to you.
Doja Cat.
And I gave you J.K. Rowling because we talked about her.
All right. So we marrying J.K. Rowling.
Mm-hmm.
She got more dough than all them hoes. I gotta kill Jenna Jameson. In her prime, I'd have took her over Doja Cat, but I don't know what she looking like these days. So, back in the day, Jenna Jameson was the one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you like yo, So I'm gonna have to kill her. Damn, that hurts me to kill her too. Nah, you know what? We gonna kill Doja Cat. We
Okay.
taking Jenna. We taking Jenna Jameson. Just for this, just the nostalgia.
Okay. Like a fine wine.
Yeah. And she's a mall now too.
Okay. I saw
You
that.
know, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so somebody, what can you explain this to me? Someone posted it on crypto Twitter. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but they said a trad thought.
Trad thought. Yeah. So it's basically it is what it says. It's like a woman who believes in traditional values, but she's just a hoe, you
Okay.
know. She or sometimes they, they get incelish with some of this stuff, and if you show too much cleavage, they'll call you a thought,
Oh
you know.
yeah.
So like the Twitch girls, right? The Twitch gamer girls, um, like Nico, right? Like I fucking love Nico, or like the Botez twins. Are you familiar with the Botez twins? So I play chess. So there's these twin girls. I don't know if they're twins, but they're sisters, and they play chess, and they're like all rated above 1800. And they're cute. They're cute chicks, but they wear like the belly shirts and stuff like that, and they're just bringing like sexy to chess, and it's increasing the viewership or whatever. So sometimes people call the gamer girls thoughts because they show a little skin. Wouldn't consider that a
I don't think
especially
it's a
somebody.
thought.
Nah, especially like somebody like Nico, who probably is just with her man, and like she's pimping you for money. That's what she's doing. She's getting dressed up, looking cute, and taking your money to get on camera and play video games. Like, what a great career is that? You get paid to play video games and look hot, and you get paid a lot of money too. I mean, thousands during a stream.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't really blame her. Um, so we have to be careful when we say trad dot, because they sometimes the dudes might consider them dots. I consider dots, somebody who's trad but got an OnlyFans in their account type thing,
Okay.
that type of one. Yeah.
So the last topic I want to touch on is an important topic because Father's Day is in like 2 weeks.
Yes.
So I went ahead, I posted something and I asked for gift ideas. So if there's any ladies watching this, and this is what people wrote down on the thread. So I'm going to have you, I'm going to go down the list. Then I'm going to have you intervene and say what they should
Okay.
do.
I got you. Yep. Yep.
So somebody says a picture of the kids from minted.com.
What the hell is
I don't
minted.com?
fucking know. That's what they said. So I just,
Okay.
so, and then,
Picture of the kids? No, fuck that. Next.
yeah. Let your man go play golf.
Next.
Family outing.
Next.
Ammo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we're getting close. Okay. Ammo's a go.
Whiskey.
If he likes whiskey, yeah, that's a go. Still kind of though.
Appreciation.
No, fuck you and your appreciation.
Silence.
Yes, yes, silence could be good. Yeah, but I need that more than Father's Day. So I'm gonna say no. Right?
um,
Thoughtful, but no.
Cook their favorite meal.
Absolutely, all three of them.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be served food all day. My favorite foods all day.
I'm gonna be making my husband peanut butter tortillas.
Nice. Keep them flowing all day. I want plants and flowing all day.
Guns.
Yes.
Sex.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Okay.
That's the key. That's the one right there.
The sex.
That yes.
Okay.
Here's what we got to do, ladies. I want y'all to think about you and your man just broke up. You caught him cheating, right? And y'all broke up because you caught him cheating. And your girl hit you up. She said, "Girl, ooh, I got this fine man and they friends and we about to go out, da 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 da," right? And you know how women go and dress when they go out to be single and catch a new man, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. That's the woman you got to be for your man that day.
Okay.
You got to put on what you would put on if your ass was single. I'm tired of looking at your ass looking like what you've been looking like as my woman. I want you to look like a single woman for one day. For me, not for everybody else. For me. And then turn into a trad dot for the night.
Okay. That could be doable. So So no, you got to show the ankle then, right?
Oh, we showing more than the ankle. we showing some thighs and some titties.
Okay. So the next one was a back rub.
Mandatory.
Okay. And the next one was, what the hell did I write? Power tools.
Dang, you trying to put me to work? But yes, power tools are essential.
That's
Absolutely.
just like buying your woman a
A vacuum.
yeah. So same shit. So that's what they gave me. Those are the ideas.
Boom. Yeah. Half the list, first half of the list, trash, last half of the list. That's where you want to be at. You make dad a real happy camper.
So ladies, make sure to get your man. Well, I already got my husband some stuff, but I'm gonna add on. I'm gonna add on to that. So make sure to get to dress real nice all day.
Dahas, the Daha stockings.
Wear something real cute for your man that he likes that you wear. I got my stuff for my husband. I'm gonna probably go get some more stuff. So wear something cute for your man. You are his for that day. Make sure you cook 3 meals from him for him. Even if you have to order out one of those, that's fine. But get his favorite stuff. Get the man a power tool, and if you can get him maybe his favorite bottle of whiskey or wine, whatever he likes to drink, and then maybe a gun or ammo if you can. I know that might be kind of hard to come by, but those are what you should be getting your man, and for Father's Day to show your appreciation.
Boom. There it is.
I think we got it all.
Got it all. That's it. That's it. Y'all heard it here first. The ultimate Father's Day list.
Do we have anything else we need to discuss for the people?
Now that's it, man. Let's get out of here. Catch y'all next week for episode 10.
All right. And I'm going to send you that thing, the cancel stem or whatever the fuck they're trying to do.
Yeah, I want to look at that. I'm about to go ham on that.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like this video, comment, subscribe, set alerts, watch all of Hotep's other content. He's got a lot of really great shit coming out. Going to keep you updated and whatnot. Also, to stay safe out there. And thank you so much for the tips, and just thank you for watching and laughing with us and having a good time.
Yes, sir.
Bye. See you next week.